Good evening to everyone, all the panelists, the participants. This is Sufia Qureshi. I welcome you all to today's webinar on the topic, the skill of creativity and innovation for 21st century post-COVID era. But before we move on to our guest and introduce her and have the webinar, let me have a quick introduction about AMP, that is Association of Muslim Professionals. Farad, can we have the PPT of our organization? All right. So, friends, AMP, that is Association of Muslim Professional, is an NGO. We have been into the economic development of the society since the past 12 years through our various flagship programs. We work in the field of education, employment, and empowerment. And AMP has a vision of impacting the lives of 10 million people by 2030 via these programs. Our mission is to empower the underprivileged for the greater benefit of the society. And our vision is to have a community in which everyone can afford and have an access to education, social progressiveness, and culturally vibrant society where we are economically dynamic and can make a difference in the society. Now let's move on to some of the achievements, the work that we have done. We run different flagship programs of us, out of which social development programs is one of the major programs which we have been running since the past 12 years. And we have created these skill development lectures, around 2,800 plus lectures in 800 plus schools. And we have benefited 281,000 students. And of course, the teachers and training and parenting workshops were 110 teachers and parents. The other flagship program of ours is Employment Assistance Cell, wherein we conduct job fairs and job drives and provide free of cost job services to the unemployed youth, as well as everyone else who is looking out for a career change, for a career advancement in life. We have conducted around 360 job fairs and job drives, benefiting 21,000 plus candidates, and have done 220 plus employability training programs, wherein we give industry oriented programs to the students so that they are employable. 17,000 students registered for these employability training programs. Yet another initiative of AMP is scholarship, wherein 800 plus higher education scholarships have been awarded, 860 plus orphan education causes, and 425 plus families transformed by offering self-employment assistance, and they are able to be uh, earn for their family and are able to educate their children. Another program is AMP Resource Center, wherein we are continuously striving to have useful academic as well as industry oriented resources, wherein we are making 660 plus career counselors, 2,500 plus students counseled via one counselor for one student, and 50 plus documents on career guidance have been documented through us. 1,500 plus career chart distribution has been done. Then there is another thing by which we reward and have partnership with the bodies. 380 plus renowned educationalists connected and awarded. Every year we give this teachers outstanding teacher award. Then 50 plus partners for skill training and job fairs, including state governments. 100 plus NGOs have been partnered with us so that we can move on to the grassroots level. Then we have certain new initiatives that are making a real difference in the society, one of which is indiazakat.com, wherein we we bring the zakat seekers and the zakat givers on a unified platform. This is a crowdfunding platform where you can raise a cause and the fund is generated and the beneficiary has been given the amount and they are able to pay their fees or for whatever cause they have raised, like for medicine, for health, and for education, and the scholarships like that. Another program is India's Zakat Foundation, we are in the process of developing a vibrant and progressive student and young professional community in India, like that we have in abroad. One mentor, one child, wherein the mentor, right from the very beginning of the career, right from choosing the stream and hand holding the student to help him in getting the right education with the aptitude and skills that he or she has. So this is again, indiamentors.com is a very good platform wherein we are registering mentors and mentees, and our mentors are benefiting them. Empower Jobs is a free job portal for the job seekers. As I told you, we have ESE Cell, which provides free of cost job services, as well as the training programs to make the youth employable. Now let's talk about the reach of our organization. Alhamdulillah, we have currently 100 plus active chapters which are spread across 25 states, 16 countries with 6,000 plus active members, and the numbers is increasing. The online presence is more than this. 1,25,000 is the figure, but we have crossed almost 1,50,000 professionals and members via online and social media. You can reach us at www.amp.org, and we are paneling students for our campus ambassador program, teachers for our professors network. So whoever wishes to join AMP can visit our website or can write to us at info@ampindia.org. So thank you very much. This is about AMP. Now we must move ahead with the webinar and the guests today we are honored to have her as a guest. Like whatever I say would be very short if I try and explain about the achievements that she has uh, done in life. So Dr. Halima Sadia, she is an educationist. She's currently serving as the Director of Education at UFAM International, where she is in charge of developing strategic plans of training of teachers, parents, and students. She served as a Deputy Director of DWB and City Delhi to establish schools for underprivileged children, organizing teachers training programs, and building staff capacity program. She's also the founding principal of Delhi Public School in Ajman, UAE. She holds a PhD in philosophy from Hamdard University, New Delhi, and acquired educational degree from Delhi University. Ms. Sadia is also the chairperson of SAET, a trust committed to the education and welfare activities for underprivileged children. And she's also the founder of Jahaniman, a YouTube channel which believes in motivating the people to help them realize their potentials and let them be the best version of themselves. It provides guidance, support, motivation, help, skills, and techniques through online and offline mode. They conduct regular workshops, seminars, conferences, research projects, competitions, and activities for the young minds and people of determination. SEAT runs short-term courses online and offline to train the volunteers who have great passion for community reach-out programs. She is also the recipient of many awards in the field of education, including the Most Influential Teachers Award from NCT Delhi and Outstanding Principals Award. She's also the member of many educational, social, and welfare organizations, including Age Care India, IICC, TERA, WGC, Nexus of Good, AIEM, etc. So over to you, Dr. Halima Sadia. And I believe your expertise in your session would be a real learning source for us. Thanks a lot. Over to you, ma'am. Please welcome Dr. Halima Sadia.
Thank you very much for my introduction. Although my introduction in my words is that I am a passionate learner, that's all. And I am a born teacher. These two words are my introduction. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Ladies and gentlemen, it's my honor to be here at this platform of AMP India, and I was listening very keenly and closely to the introduction and achievements of this organization, and I was really impressed. Alhamdulillah, so much achievements, and that too for our Muslim community, for our youth, for our uh, for our teachers. It's really marvelous, and congratulations to those who are involved in this, the stakeholders. And I must pray to Almighty that all these efforts should be accepted by Almighty, because that is the greatest reward for which we all are working together for the upliftment of our community. So today my topic, as it is announced already, but before I go to my topic, let me just ask a general question that is very, very common question, and most of you must be knowing that what is your understanding of creativity and innovation. And for that, I'm going to use uh, this platform, Mentimeter. Now, I hope that you all must be aware of this platform, Mentimeter. How would you describe creativity? Just open Mentimeter and then you have to enter this code, 7687299. And there you write just 3 words, and those words will be appear here. How would you describe creativity? Use the code 7687799 and then enter into Mentimeter. Here it is written Mentimeter. Just enter this code there and write 3 words. Those 3 words will appear here on the screen. Wow, lovely. Innovative, sustainable, simplistic. Wonderful, but only one brother or sister. We are here, we have here 23 participants. So I need 23 threes are 69. So there should be 69 words. If not 69, at least 50 words should be there on the screen. What is your understanding? Whatever comes to your mind, there is no wrong and right answer in my class. All the answers are correct. Okay, so anyway, we'll move further, and just let me know the name of this gentleman or lady, whosoever has attempted, so that I can appreciate the effort. Oh, there are others. Your design, upgrading. So who is the one who has shared? At least give me your name. So that's really great that you are trying. At least you are trying your level best. And this trying is more important than the product. So thank you very much. Now let me move further. Something out of the box. I really liked it. Learning. Good. New idea. Wonderful. Amazing. Great. So thank you, everyone. Thank you very much for participating. So this is your understanding of creativity and innovation. Now let me move towards my presentation. So as you all know that today I'm going to speak about innovation and creativity with a special reference to the post-COVID era. Before moving to the post-COVID era, let me just take you to the land of stories, as I know that everybody is very fond of stories, and I'm also very fond of stories. So the first story is, I'm going to narrate 3 stories. The first story is that there was a hotel in France, and that hotel was running in loss, and the people were like, lots of hue and cry was there, that how to maintain this hotel the image of the hotel and how to get the benefit out of this hotel for which this hotel is established. This is the first story. Now the second story is that Mrs. Shah used to observe in the class that early morning in the first period, a group of children, they were not interested into studies, and they used to disturb the class. They were feeling quite often they were feeling lazy, and they were not interested at all in the teaching and learning whatever is going on. And whatever she has tried her level best, she was not able to find out the solution. Now the third one is, you all must have heard this story, the workers' toilet and the executive toilet. So these are three stories. Now, if you know anything about them, then please let me know. Otherwise, I'm going to tell you one by one about all these three stories, that what exactly is hidden in all these three stories. In the first story where I mentioned that there was a hotel and the hotel was running in loss and the company was like worried what to do. Finally, what they did? Finally, they brought an idea. They reduced their space, fitting in more rooms, because there was rooms were so big and the lobby was so vast that it was not at all required. So they have reduced the lobby, they have reduced the size of the room, and they have brought more. They built more rooms, and in this way, now the room's cost went down, and in this way they found the solution for this problem of the hotel running in loss. Now, as far as Mrs. Shah's case is concerned, Mrs. Shah, where the children, a group of children were not happy in the class, they were not interested in the class. Even early morning when she used to go in the class, she was the class teacher. Then she started doing research on them. And then she found out that this particular group of children, they used to come by route number 1, bus number 1. And that bus number 1 starts at 5, sorry, this is not PM, this is AM, 5:30 AM in the morning. And that was the reason why the children were not able to eat anything in the morning, to have anything in the morning. And when they come to the school, and they used to feel hungry. And a hungry person is an angry person. You know, if you feel hunger, nothing will look good to you. Nothing will go into your minds. And you will be least interested in any of the activities, whatever is being done in the class. So that was the reason. And then Mrs. Shah realized that this is the basic need as per the hierarchy of needs. And we all have read in our training courses that in the hierarchy of needs, at the lowest level, we have the need of physiological need, and that physiological need is eating, drinking, having a house, and then living in a family. So this physiological need is the most essential need. If these needs are fulfilled, then only we can expect that the further other things will be attractive for us. So then Mrs. Shah has found the solution, and she has given some time in the first period to those children to eat from their tiffin. And they used to eat from their tiffin. They used to take 10 minutes of time. And then after that, they were very energetic and they were very happy in the class. Now the third story, the story of the toilets. I think it's a very famous story nowadays. You will find that it is being viral in the University of Google and WhatsApp University. That the story goes like this, that this is related to Tata Group. Once he was taking the chairman was taking the meeting, he was informed that the toilet of the workers are very dirty and the basic hygiene is not maintained, while the toilets of executives are quite maintained. So then he asked when he asked the executive that how much time you are going to take to fix this issue, this problem. Then he said that, sir, at least 1 month is required to fix this problem. Then he said that for me, this is a matter of only 1 day. And I can solve this issue within 1 day. What did he do? Next day, he asked a carpenter, and he asked the carpenter to just change the names of the toilets. Like he has put executive toilets to the workers' toilets, and the workers toilets to the executive toilets. So in this way, when naturally executives used to go to their toilets and they were so dirty, they were very much concerned about the cleanliness. And then within 3 days, those toilets were entirely clean. And then he made a rule that after 15 days, these signboards should be changed from executive to workers and workers to executive. So in all these three stories, if we are going to look into the stories closely, we'll find that the solution of each situation was not taken normally. You know, the solution to the issues and the solution to the problem was taken innovatively, like it was something different. Naturally, in the case of Mrs. Shah also, the children used to get scolding every day that why are you not attentive, why are you not attending the class, call the parents, then have the meeting with the parents, and then so many hangama and halla gulla and many things will happen. And similarly, in the case of toilet also, the cleaners used to be sent there, and then used to they would have cleaned it for a month, and then the solution was there. But here in all these three stories, we found that how when the person is thinking differently, if you think differently, then naturally the different solution comes, and the different solution is the solution that going to solve the things quickly with less efforts, and the proper solution that is going to give satisfaction to all those who are the end users. So my dear teachers, these words, whatever is appearing on the screen, you all must be very much aware of this. These are information, media and technology skills, learning and innovation skills, life and career skills. And then further, when we talk about learning and innovation skills, we found that there are 3 C's involved here, 4 C's, and these 4 C's are very famous C's: creativity and innovation, critical thinking and problem solving, and collaboration and communication. So can anyone tell me that what exactly are these 3 circles mentioned on the screen? These are called? Alhamdulillah. These are called life skills. Yes, exactly. So these are the 21st century skills that teaches, these skills teach us how to live the life successfully. So these are broadly divided into 3 areas. One is information, media and technology skills. The second is learning and innovation skills. And the third is life and career skills. So these are called 21st century skills. And out of these, further, they also have lots of skills. And here also we have lots of skills. But today we are discussing this learning and innovation skills. Learning innovation skills has 3 C's: creativity and innovation, critical thinking and problem solving, communication and collaboration. But our focus is going to be on creativity and innovation. That is the topic for today. Normally, what we do is that we interchange both the words. Sometimes we say creativity and we mean innovation, and sometimes we say innovation and we mean creativity. So it's important for us to understand the difference between these two. What is the difference between creativity and innovation? Creativity is something done or something dealt with our mind. The imagination, the ideas, the thoughts, the concepts, solve having the idea of solving any issues, problem solving. So brainstorming, like if there is any issue, I can ask the questions to the audience or to the people or to the students and to the users, and I ask them for the solutions, and that is brainstorming. So they may have lots of ideas how to solve that issue. So this is called creativity, while innovation is doing something, that is action. Like once you have got the idea, but if you have not implemented that idea into practice, then till then that idea is just creativity. If that idea is new, so that is creativity. But once we have started doing that, we started putting that idea into action, we have started inventing something, we have started adding value to that. So we started making the use of that idea. We started to change the situation. We started to have some product on the basis of that idea. Then that is called innovation. This is the basic difference between creativity and innovation. Now creativity is on the top because first one bulb has to be there in the mind. We have to light it up, and then only once idea will come. Then either we have to invent something or we have to innovate something. Now there is again difference between invention and innovation. For the invention, the whatever we are going to make, it has to be new, entirely new thing. And while innovation, whatever is existing, if we are going to add some value to that, either we are going to add the utility of that, or we are going to reduce the price to that, or we are going to make it more user friendly. So that is called innovation. But invention or innovation, whatever we are indulged into that, the creativity has to come first, and then after that invention and innovation comes. Now the core skills for innovation. The innovation we cannot do overnight, and we cannot be an innovator, and we cannot make the student innovator overnight. So we have to start from the observation. Like whenever we are teaching anything to the child, or we are taking the child outside, or we are showing anything, we are demonstrating anything, the first thing is that we have to ask the child to observe. And when they are observing, they have to observe with all their five senses. They have to touch it, they have to see it, they have to smell it, if they have to find the texture of it. So this observation is very, very important. And then after that, after observation, the child has to be curious to ask the questions, n number of questions. Why it is so? Why the color is this? Why the texture is like this? And then after curiosity, the child has to, now in today's world, collaboration is very, very important, because alone, if we do the things alone, it has less result, less production. While if we do the things in collaboration, then many minds think better. And with collaboration, that's why in the classrooms now it is advised that we have to have the groups in the class, and in the groups we have to do the projects, we have to give them the task, we have to do the brainstorming group wise, so that they know how to collaborate. And then after that they have to experiment, and then after experimenting they have to do networking, because anything you have done and you are keeping yourself and you are not spreading it out, then that has less effect, less impact. But if you want to increase and enhance the impact, then we have to do the networking. And then during the process of experimenting, it's very important to learn, unlearn, and relearn, because many a times we fail. And we have to have the attitude of unlearning and relearning. This unlearning is the most difficult thing. Whatever we have learned, our mind is a rigid mind, and we always think that whatever we have learned is the best, and now there is no need of learning. That's what I found during my 28 years of teaching experience. When I was interacting, I used to interact with the teachers. The most important and most difficult task was that nobody was ready to change. And they used to say that I have 12 years of experience, I have 20 years of experience, I have 30 years of experience, I have been doing this and I have given lots of good result. Then what is the need of changing? Why to unlearn those things, and why to move towards the different pedagogies or different aspects of learning or different aspects of teaching? So this is very difficult to convince the teachers to unlearn. Now, if we talk about the ABCD of innovation. So, A is ability to create and ask great questions. And B is that we have to always look at the things with a fresh mind. When there is nothing in the mind is so fresh and rich. But if we are doing anything or looking at anything with a rigid mind, with lots of notions in the mind, then naturally the result is going to be stagnated, the result is going to be the same. If we want to get fresh result or new result or innovative result, then naturally first we have to empty our mind. We have to look at the things with a beginner's mind and fresh mind. And C is that we have to control responses. You know, whenever we are thinking of doing anything new, first of all, the people will start giving their responses. And naturally that response will be, in most of the cases, it is going to be negative response, not positive response. So if they are going to give us negative response, so either those responses are based on So if they are going to give the responses, then their responses are either going to be the ego response, like they think that why I have not done, why this idea has not come to my mind, why this idea has come to my colleague's mind or to my subordinate mind. So that will be based on ego. That's why they will discourage you. Then there will be the fatigue response, like, oh my God, what is the need of this change? We are doing well, it's going smoothly. Then that response is fatigue response, like they are tired of their life, they don't have any zeal, any enthusiasm. So in that case, so we have to take the initiative more without noticing their fatigue responses. And then no risk responses, like nobody wants to take any risk. This innovative idea has lots of risk. There is a risk of this, there is a risk of that, there is a risk the children will be not happy, the parents will object, and the parents are going to even withdraw their children from this school. This idea is not at all acceptable, we are not going to accept this idea. So these responses will be no risk responses, because these type of people, they don't want to take any risk in life. And then there will be comfort responses, that they don't want to come out of their comfort, they don't want to do anything extra, because when we are doing any innovative thing, if we are doing any creative thing, believe me, it requires lots of efforts, it requires lots of energy, it requires lots of planning, and it requires more efforts and more energy than a normal and traditional classroom. So that is C of innovation. And when we speak about D of innovation, so that is that we have to develop innovative attitude. And innovative attitude is very, very rare. It's not very common. Like common sense is not common, same way, innovative attitude is very rare. Rare means R stand for risk, A stand for action oriented, R stand for respectful to the others' ideas, and E stand for empower. Like these two are for the others and these two are for us. Like if somebody else is bringing some ideas to us, some innovative ideas, so we have to be respectful towards their ideas. We have to pay attention and we have to encourage them. We have to respect their ideology. We should not laugh at them. We should not discourage them. We should not have our own negative responses for them. And then we have to empower them. Means whatever we can do for them by extending our helping hand to them, that we have to extend our helping hand and we have to empower. So this is ABCD of innovation. Now, till here, I have discussed the creativity and innovation in general. Now, if we talk about post-COVID era, because that is also a part of my topic. If we talk about the post-COVID era, if I ask that only one sentence you have to speak, that in the post-COVID era, if we think about one change and one transformation that had happened in the sector of education. So in your opinion, what do you think? What is that first and foremost change that had happened in the field of education? Any responses for this? There are many changes, but if we talk about any one change, any one transformation in the field of education, then what you are going to say? Digital transformation. Wonderful answer, wonderful. Who is that? Let me see. Shaheen. My dear Shaheen, congratulations. Wonderful answer. Yes, of course. If if we are going to place in order, then naturally digital empowerment or digital transformation is going to take number one place. You know, even overnight, the teachers have learned so many skills. And the teachers who were so reluctant in using the laptop, even for the PowerPoint presentation in the class, and the teachers who are scared of using the smart boards, and the people who are reluctant to take any, use any app, any educational app, they all, how they have switched over. And I know the schools in the villages and remote areas, there they have managed with the even WhatsApp. I was surprised that entire year they have taught the children on the WhatsApp, and by sending the SMS, by sending them the materials, then by calling them over the phone, and then how these people have become overnight digital savvy persons. I must congratulate all the teachers, you know, hats off to them, that this is the greatest change that had happened in the field of education during this COVID era. Now, if we talk about that now or after next 5 years, which skill is going to be in demand? So this is not my findings, this survey I have taken. So this survey clearly says, I have taken from ACE Singapore, ACE International Singapore. So this survey clearly says that if we talk about the skills in coming days or for the next 5 years, then the fairness is going to take 12%, humility is going to take 12%, focus on sustainability is going to take 20%, dedication is going to take 28%, openness is going to take 28%, influence is going to take 30%, and global thinking is going to take 35%, and integrity is going to take 52%, and while creativity is going to take 60%. So now we all have to understand the need of creativity and the need of innovation and how important it is to develop in our students in the classrooms. Now, Dr. Land's name, George Land's name, is nowadays quite familiar with the people because he is the person who has developed the unique strategic thinking and innovation process. And he claims and he says that every child is born with creativity. Every human has creativity. The only difference is that some get opportunity and chance to enhance it, to develop it, to make the best use of it, while others, they kill it. And they kill it not purposely, they kill it unknowingly. They kill it because they are ignorant. And he invented the first computer interactive approaches to group innovation, decision-making, and strategic thinking. This TED Talk was very much in the news. Robinson's 2007 TED Talk, where he speaks that it's our educational system or educational institutions, they kill the creativity of the students. Before going to the school, the child is so innovative, so creative. The child is always curious to know about the things. He always, even the moving fan makes him curious. He observes the moving fans, how it works. Everything, even the birds, even the flowers, even the nature, everything makes the child curious. The child asks so many questions. You know, sometimes the parents get irritated and they say that why the child is asking so many questions. So asking the question is a sign of a fertile mind. If the child thinks, then only the child can ask the questions. If the child is not able to think, then naturally the child is not going to ask any question. But our school system, our educational institutions, they kill the creativity in the students. Do schools kill creativity? That's what he has tried to convey in his speech, in his TED Talk, that yes, the school, they kill the creativity in the students. How? Because inside the classroom, the teachers, I won't say the teachers are responsible for this, because teachers have to deal with n number of students in the class, 40, 45, 50, 60. In some of the schools, I have seen even 70 students in a class, and then 40 minutes or 35 minutes time, and then completion of the syllabus. Then where is the time for the teacher to pay individual attention to the children? Where is the time for the teacher to think independent plan, individual plan for the students? She is also a human being. So she cannot be held responsible for this. Neither the principal can be held responsible for this, nor the management can be held responsible for this, because the management thinks that whatever investment they have done in the school, naturally they have to recover it. They have to run the show. And for that, these many numbers of students are going to make the situation win-win for everyone. But it is the entire system that is responsible. That makes the children less creative. But now this is the time that we all have to reclaim our creativity. Creativity is our birthright, not only children's birthright. Even we as adults, it's our right as well. And we have to reclaim it. And if we don't develop our creativity, if we don't work upon our creativity, then naturally it's going to die its natural death. For that, some people you will find some people, they say that, oh, creativity is by birth. Yes, it is by birth, but we have to reclaim it. It's not by birth for some people or some children or somebody. It's by birth for everyone. God has given to each and every individual, each and every human being. And then this is a responsibility of the human being to develop it. But how to develop it is a big question. It's not so easy. We have to practice for the creativity. You must have seen that where we have lots of people discussing some ideas, then your mind works very fast. Your reflexes are so very fast among them, and you also think, and you also bring so many ideas that afterwards or before you think, oh my God, I have never realized that I have such ideas in my mind. But if you are surrounded by the people who never think, by the people who are least interested into thinking activity or that to creative thinking activity, the people, they never discuss their innovative ideas, whatever new comes to their mind, they never discuss. They think that people are going to laugh at me. So if you are surrounded by those people, then naturally your mind is going to be like that. So creativity is a practice. So for practice, we have to have first expertise knowledge, then technical and procedural intellectual. So this expertise is very important. Knowledge of the subject area, whatever area we want to do some innovation, whatever field we want to do innovation. So for that fields, information and knowledge, whether it is technical or whether it is just informatory knowledge, both is important for us. First, knowledge should be there. And then after that, we should have motivation to do something new. We should have motivation, and we should have a heart feeling the issues or the pains or the happenings in the society or in the world. And then we have to think critically, and then we have to find the solutions for that. And then we have to have creative thinking skills and imagination. If there is no imagination, then naturally there won't be any creativity in the mind. So we learn to be creative by experimenting, exploring, questioning assumptions, using imagination, and synthesizing information. So this is how we can develop our creativity. So my dear teachers, since it is said the creativity is skilled at school, and when the child goes to the school, there the child has to follow certain norms and rules and think in the certain pattern, in the same pattern as the others are thinking. So when we as educationists or we as teachers are responsible for that, so let's start the creativity from the school again. Now let's revive it. Let's start the creativity at the school. How we have to start the creativity? From the nursery onwards, we have to develop the creativity, and it's not possible if we are not going to bring transformation, if we are not going to have the transformation in all three major areas. We have to transform our curriculum, we have to transform our pedagogy, and then we have to transform our assessment. If our assessment system continues asking the students the information or knowledge based questions, then naturally there is no need of the teacher of now thinking creatively and then giving the projects or the assignments to the children that requires creativity or that requires critical thinking. So all these three, even if we are not changing our pedagogies, the pedagogy has to be changed. If we are switching over to the flip teaching, then naturally flip teaching is a method of teaching where the child is given the responsibility of learning. Teacher plays the role of just a facilitator. The teacher facilitates, the teacher gives the resources, provides the information, and then the child himself or herself just to go through those resources, and the child has to assimilate the information, and then the child brings back his experience to the class, and the teacher has to now see that how the child has construct his knowledge, whether in the right direction or where the child needs extra guidance from the teacher, and the guidance is provided by the teacher to the child. So we need transformation in the curriculum, in the pedagogy, and in the assessment pattern. And when we are going to have the transformation in these three major areas, then only we can expect, then only we can think that the creativity, as it is our birthright, as it is given to all the children, all the human beings, it will be reclaimed. So now with this, I'm not going to talk about more that how it has to be done inside the classrooms, because then lots of time is required for that, for each subject, for each discipline, whatever we do in the class, for each level, like for KG, for pre-primary level, primary level, middle level, secondary, senior secondary level will be different. And for subject wise also, like if we talk about the languages, it is going to be different. If we talk about the social sciences, it's going to be different. For mathematics and science, for physical development, for emotional and social development, for spiritual development, it's going to be different. So in all those areas, this has to be developed differently in different areas. So thank you very much. Now there is a time for question answers. If you have any questions, you can ask me. And if you want to contact me, my email ID is given on the screen. You are most welcome to contact me. It's drhalimasadia@gmail.com.
Thank you, Dr. Halima. Thanks a lot for the wonderful session. Friends, COVID-19 has not been over. This pandemic has shaken the world. It has disrupted our working, our behavior, and the way we see the world. Ability to do what needs to be done in any given situation is the most important skill now. The change is the new normal. In terms of education in every fraternity, the HR fraternity, they have got a huge responsibility in this difficult times wherein to manage the human resources. They are working from home, they are in anxiety, they are in depression, but handling them and making the things done. Also, not only the children, the parents, the employees, every individual on this earth have become sensitive to what the world post COVID-19, where as creativity has to be the practice now. She has given ample examples of the teachers, how have they done the innovative ways, how have they evolved themselves into digital marketing, how have they have been used WhatsApp and Zoom meetings, which they might have never used. So I thank her. I'm heartily thankful to the way she has conducted the session. It was very creative. Therefore, I have not set the context for this presentation. She has done a creative activity for this. And I would like to thank the attendees as well. And ma'am, thank you very much for being here, for sharing your thoughts. It was really, we are overwhelmed with the way you have done this session for us. Thanks a lot. Thank you very much.
In fact, the last activity is left. So if there is 5 minutes time, this can be done. That last activity is for 5 minutes.
Of course, we would love to have that activity.
So I think they all must be aware with the quizzes app. So if you are joining on quizzes app, then you have to enter this code 67760, or otherwise I am going to copy the link in the chat box. You can just open the link and then you can start doing the questionnaire.
Ma'am, can we have the code once again?
Yes, just I'm sharing the link. Link is
Okay.
already shared. If you want, you
Yeah.
can open. Or if you want to go by the number, then it is there. 67760. Abdul, congratulations. You are the first one to join. Adil, wonderful. Only two have joined so far. Now three, Sufi joined, Veera joined. Okay, thank you very much. Four of them have joined. Now we are going to start. It's very interesting game. How can you save time in the classroom? Showing lots of videos, flipped classroom, extra lecturing, or large group instruction. Just pick on one. time is over. We are going to end this quiz. Let me see that what exactly is the result of this quiz.
I am the winner.
MashaAllah, Mabruk, Sufi first, and Meera second, and Adil third. Congratulations.
It was wonderful. It was fun. Though
Wonderful,
I was
wonderful.
not knowing that I really didn't notice the next button. I was just waiting for the answer to come and for the question to come and answer.
So there are people who are on 100%, Veera and Sufi 100, Adil 93, and then Abdul 93, 66 and all. So congratulations, very well played. Thank you very much.
It was fun. I am very sorry. I don't know why there are less participants today, but I've enjoyed your session a lot.
Thank you very much.
Like
It was
hosting was never been so much of fun.
Thank
Thanks
you.
a lot, ma'am.
Congratulations.
Thank you. But I am poor at creativity because I have not seen the screen. I must have been the winner or like 2-3 minutes earlier. I don't know how to navigate. Is it the navigation button there? Thank you so much, ma'am. Looking forward to have more sessions with you. It was really a pleasure, and I must congratulate you for your YouTube channel, Jahaniman, and the hell lot of activities that you do. Various sessions on various topics, inviting guests. You do a lot many things. May Allah bless you. And we are really honored, and we'll be having you again when we have a certain like program where you can expect ample number of registrations, more people with
No,
us.
it's
Thank you
okay
so much.
for me, this number hardly matters.
Yeah. It was like you are addressing 1,000 participants. It was like the enthusiasm was like that only. Thank you so much, ma'am. Thanks a lot.
Okay, Sufi ma'am, before winding up, let me just inform all the participants that we are honoring the women on this Women Day, the women of substance. So I'll share you the details. If somebody has done something great in any field, then we are there to acknowledge their efforts, either in the education or engineering or science or whatever field they have done. So we will be happy to honor them. Thank you very much.
Please share the text with me. I'll put it forward.
Sure.
Thanks a lot, ma'am. Have a
Thank
great
you.
time. Nice to have you. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much.